Hi, I'm Tereza from PotomacBeads. Today we will create together my disc design Hellebore earrings with check cubes and Miyuki seed beads. So let's gather the supplies and start working. To make the Hellebore earrings, we will work with Miyuki thread. I'm using the gold one because I'll be using the gold perfect form endless ring. So choose a color of thread which will be kinda invisible on the ring. So if I'm going with silver plated, I'll be using a silver thread. It's not really visible when you wear it, when you wear the earrings. It's really visible now in the video, of course, but don't worry, it's almost invisible when I look at it, especially from afar. But it's good to use the color of the ring. The ring is 30 millimeters and I'm using size 10 needle, and in my needle I have an arm span long piece of thread. And now I will set the finished one aside and let's start. So we will start with brick stitch, then we will move over to peyote stitch. We will start by putting on one 15 Miyuki seed bead, then one 4mm check cube. Slide it towards the end, but keep a longer tail. I keep 15 centimeters because it's easier to hold. And now the cube will sit on top of the ring. And this is the start of the brick stitch. So put it on top of the ring, go through the ring and go through the cube and the 15 as well. In the beginning it will move a lot, don't worry, that's why the longer tail, because it's easier to hold. And now we will move over to the next cube by putting on one Miyuki 8-0. So this is the Crystal Magic Orchid, and these 15-0s are Duracold galvanized gold. We put on one 8-0, one 15-0 and one cube. Slide them down again. And now go through the circle. Doesn't matter from which side. And now back up through the cube and the 15-0, not the 8-0, just these two. And pull. And this is the first two beads we added, and now we will just repeat it all the time with the step with putting on 8-0, 15-0 and cube. We will always slide it down, go through the loop and then back up through the cube and the 15-0. Pull, set the cubes aside. You can see that the first one is a bit loose, so make it tight again, hold it, and now we will just go around the whole perfect form. I counted 29 of the cubes. They fit perfectly. This is the purple golden touch, so it fits amazingly. The only issue that I found is when you use edged beads. So we have these also edged version, which is my other colorway I used for kit in preparations, and because of the edging, which is applying acid to the surface of the bead, the cubes are slightly smaller. So if you are using something like that, make a little space between the beads, not to put them so close together like here, but just a tiny space. And in the end, when you go around, you can also reposition the cubes a bit when you go around, but this was just a tip. If you're using this colorway or something which is not edged, you are completely fine and you don't have to worry your pretty little head. So Continue like this, put always 1 8-0, 1 15-0, a cube, go through the round, through the circle I mean, and use the brick stitch to go through the cube, and 15-0. I will add 25 more cubes and then I'll catch you up. I'm about to finish this row and I need to add one last 8-0 to connect the last and the first cube. So this is where I ended. So my thread is coming out of the 15-0. This is where we started. So there's the cube and the 15-0 on top. So I'm holding the tail and I will put on 1 8-0 and I will go down through the first 15-0 and the cube. I will go through the circle and then up through the cube and the 15-0 again. Pull on both sides so you don't have such large gaps between the beads. And now both ends of the thread are coming from the same 11-0 actually, which means we will continue with peyote stitch now, and we will be adding 8-0s but a different color and 3mm check round beads. But before I do that, I recommend doing the same to you. Take the other end and hide the tail, because later when there's more layers it will be trickier to get down back towards the circle and hide the thread properly. That's how I do it. I usually go 1 cube back and then hide the thread there. So I will switch the needle, hide the thread, get more beads, and then we will start working on the next row. So let's start the next peyote row. My thread is coming out of the 8-0. I'm putting on 8-0 of a different color, so this is the metallic dark plum iris, very similar but very dark. And I'm going through the next 8-0. We are doing peyote stitch, and we'll be alternating the Miyuki 8-0s with check rounds in 3mm size, and this is the Aztec Gold. So like this, always pick up 1 Miyuki 8-0 and then one check round and go around the whole beadwork. But we have an odd number of the cubes, which means here it won't fit. So for the last 2 gaps, I put in both of the check rounds, but I'll show you when I get there. So until I reach here, I reach the start, continue like this and then I'll catch you up. So I have 2 gaps missing. So as I said, in the last but one I'm adding 1 check round and into the last one as well, like this. And now step up through the first dark plum iris 8-0 we edit, and we have a circle that looks like this. I actually like it in every step, so if you don't want to continue, just add a loop and that's it, you have an earring. But we will continue, we'll be adding 2 more rows actually. So let's do this one. So our thread is coming out of the dark 8-0. Now put on 2 15-0s 1 O bead, this is again Crystal Magic Orchid, 1 cube, 1 O bead, and 2 15 O's again. So this is what we have on our needle. And now skip the gold check round and continue into the Miyuki 8-0, which was sticking out, and like this around the whole beadwork. So 2 15 O's, 1 8-0, 1 check cube, 1 O, sorry, no, not 8-0, O bead. There was a little check for in between. So 2 15 O's, 1 O bead, 1 cube, 1 O bead, and 2 15 O's. Yes. Again, skip the gold one and go into the 8-0. And like this, around the whole beadwork. Here will be the last cube. And here I will show you what we will do, because that's the spot where later the ear wire will hang. So we need to do something else, because we have the a bit confusing odd number. So let's continue until we can, and then as usual I'll catch up. And here I am with my last cube edit, and my thread is coming out of the dark plum 8-0. And now follow me. So here into the gap between the 8-0 and the check round, add 2 15 O's. Into the gap between the 2 check rounds, we will add 1 15 O, check cube, 1 15 O. Continue into the second round. Position the cube. It will have slightly funny position above the 15 O's, but don't worry, it should look like this. So it should be in the center. Then again into the next gap, 2 15 O's, and go into the dark plum iris 8-0. And now let's step up to the last row, which is adding the Crystal Magic Orchid 8-0's into the gaps here. So let's get to the correct spot. Go through the 15 O's on the side, then through the O bead, the cube, and the O bead, and finally the first 15 O, only one of those. And this is where you are. Add 1 Crystal Magic Orchid Miyuki 8-0 and go through the top 15 O of the next group, then the O beads, the cube, and the next top 15 O, and like this into this gap add always 1 8-0. I recommend not pulling too much, because if you pull too much you will create a cone, they will fold inside. You don't want that. So at this point your beadwork should be nice and tight already, but at this point don't pull that much because you won't save anything. Just casually go through beads. You don't pull too much, just a tad, and continue adding the 8-0 between the group of beads we added. Here at the end I will again show you how we add the ear wire, and after that the earring is finished. And here we are at the almost end. So I finished adding the 8-0's. I am now my thread is coming out from the 15 O's behind the cube and the OB. So continue to the dark plum iris 8-0 and also through the 2 15 O's behind. Now add 1 8-0. I'm adding the crystal orchid, and 1 15 O, and go through the cube. So like this. That means that the cube won't turn around anymore. And then we will work at the top of the cube, and then we will finish here. So first put on 2 15-0s, 1 8-0, 1 15-0, so 2 1 1. Go down through the 8-0, add 2 15-0s, and go through the cube through the cube from the other side. And pull and position the 8-0 on top of the cube. You can also add 3 15-0s here, doesn't really matter. Go back up through the 15-0, the 8-0, and into the 15-0 at the top. And there pick 3 15-0s, your ear wire, choosing gold-plated lever bags, 3 more 15-0s, and go through the same 15-0 once more from the other side. So now we have a loop. Now go through the loop, the beads and the ear wire one more time to strengthen it. And into the 15-0 that's connecting the sides, then down to the 8-0 and through this other side, through this other side on through the 15-0s, the cube, so I am exiting on the side where I don't have the beads yet. Pick 1 15-0, 1 8-0, and go into the 2 15-0s here and pull. That's it. So now I will go through the beads, knot off the thread, hide the end, and after that the earring is finished. So these are the Hellebore earrings. This is actually my favorite combo of purple, green and gold, so I hope you will like them. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial. If you need any of the materials, you can head down below in the description underneath the video, where you can find the links to purchase the beads you need to make these Hellebore earrings. If you make them, I'll be looking forward to seeing your pictures in our beading and jewelry making group on Facebook. And until next time, see you in the next one.